Good evening and welcome back to our newest edition of Cultivating Connections in the Time of COVID. I think that we are here live with you. And tonight we're excited to bring you something that is well outside of the Grange reaches. This event, sponsored by the Grange Youth Department, brings together educators from various areas to provide some resources to folks who are in education who are learning how to scramble today with going from classroom to virtual learning and really testing a lot of things on the fly. So tonight I want to introduce you to our host, who is Mandy Bostwick, our National Grange Youth Director and also an educator. Let her introduce herself and then take our program around the country to a few presenters who are bringing us some great resources that hopefully educators can put into practice as they're preparing to get out of this year and thinking about their years ahead. So Mandy, welcome.
Thank you. So like Amanda said, I'm the National Grange Youth Director, but I'm also a fourth grade teacher here in Kansas, and I know how stressful this time is for all of our educators. Kansas is one of the first states to go to shift to that at-home learning, and my school actually went to an all-digital platform, which has been a little tough because a lot of our students live in the country and they haven't had access. My district's done a wonderful job about getting access to kids and all that fun stuff. It's been stressful, but they've managed it. And it's, like I said, it's been difficult. We've had kids that haven't been able to get on. And so I know it's important for teachers to collaborate, and we understand each other. We understand the positions that we're all in, and we know that we need to keep our students engaged in this very trying time. And so that's why we came up with this Rural Educators Share and Show. And to kick us off tonight, we have Lisa Gaskalla from National Ag in the Classroom. She is the executive director there. And sorry, I have lost my thing. And National Ag in the Classroom provides many teacher resources free on a vast array of topics for various grade levels and subjects, and they provide details on how that fits into curriculum standards. So please welcome Lisa Gaskalla, sorry.
Gaskalla, but that was close enough. Thanks so much, Mandy, and thank you, Amanda, for including National Agriculture in the Classroom in this discussion tonight, because we're really excited about some new resources that our team has put together to help teachers and parents and even students who are having to conduct at-home learning and figure out what that looks like. So we wanted to quickly take what we already had online. We already had a searchable database called the Curriculum Matrix with hundreds of lesson plans and curriculum resources for kindergarten through 12th grade that teachers were using already, but we really recognized there was a need to simplify some things and make it really easy for teachers and other educators to use at home, and especially on these educational platforms that teachers are having to all of a sudden learn really fast and find resources to use to adapt to it and help their students along with this type of learning. So can I ask whoever's got the controls there to take me to the Ag in the Classroom website? It's agclassroom.org, agclassroom.org is the URL. And right on the home page, you can see we have an e-learning, a new e-learning page on our website. So I'm going to get Amanda to click on that. It's the delivering content. Yes, e-learning will take you there. So scroll up if you would a little bit more. So what you can see, and we've basically taken lessons that were already on the curriculum matrix that teachers were already using, and we put them into grade bands, and then right now we have about a half a dozen lessons, but go ahead and click on, we've got pre-K through 2nd grade, so younger elementary, 3rd through 5th grade, upper elementary, middle school, the 6th through 8th grade band, and 9th through 12th grade band. So I'm going to actually, let's go to pre-K 2nd grade. You can go to the top there. And so what we decided to do, and by we, I want to give a shout out to the National Agricultural Literacy Center. That is basically this National Center for Agricultural Literacy, excuse me, at Utah State University, and Dr. Deborah Spielmaker and her team. They're the ones who develop all the content on our matrix. But they recognized teachers who all of a sudden found out that they were going to be trying to educate their students at home, needed some, and we're going to be using some platforms, whether it's Google Classroom or Canvas, maybe platforms they're not used to using. So if you would go ahead and click on eating plants, for example, I'm going to show you. So what our team did was take these lessons and basically put them into a Google Docs format. So it's really easy for a teacher that is using Google Classroom or Canvas to transfer it into that educational platform. But also, it's a really easy system for your students to use too. Now, maybe not younger elementary, maybe not a kindergartner, certainly. But as you can see, it's just, if you'll scroll down, you'll see it's about a page and a half. It's not a lengthy lesson plan, but there's links. And if you'll go back up to the top with me, I want to show you something. And if you click on the parts of a plant PowerPoint, for example, it takes them right to that document. It's really easy to navigate. And it's got everything that a teacher would need if they wanted to teach the parts of the plant, you know, for younger elementary students. So if you will go back to the lesson plan, the Google Docs, there you go. So, and then go back to, there we go, back to the e-learning page. So this was pre-kindergarten through second grade. We've got an egology lesson plan, farm animal match, the farm web, another important concept with food webs that students have to learn, life cycle of a flowering plant. And also notice the theme. We realize that educators, teachers especially, teach according to the season of the year. So as you can see, there's a lot of plant lessons that are plant related since it's springtime, and there's planting. And of course, we just had Easter, so we've got an egology lesson. Then Amanda, if you could take us to the 3rd through 5th grade band. We have some more lessons for upper elementary, again, more about planting. We get into making bioplastic, which is a renewable and non-renewable resources lesson plan. That is a concept that's in the standards for this grade range. And Who Grew My Soup? We have permission from the publisher to use this book, but there's a great lesson plan that goes with it, where students really investigate the sources of the food they eat and the processes involved in getting it from the farm to the fork. So if you'll go back up, scroll back up to the top and take us to 6th through 8th grade. For middle and high school, we have a great resource. It's called Journey 2050. You can go ahead and click on that too if you would like. Journey 2050, it's an educational gaming platform that Nutrien Limited developed, but kids basically become, and it's geared to 7th through 12th grade, but it's got 7 different lesson plans that go with the game that they play. And so basically it teaches students all about sustainability on the farm, and they basically farm in 3 different countries and compete against each other to become the most sustainable farm. So you'll see, again, I'll take you, if you go up to the first lesson, scroll up, and if I'm talking too fast, please forgive me. But yeah, click on the Google Doc for lesson 1. This is where they learn what sustainable agriculture means in this lesson. But something we wanted to show you, you might want to move your cursor. There we go. So number 1, you'll see there is actually an online video module for the teacher to view that will explain to you this lesson and gives you important questions and videos that you can ask your students to watch, and then questions to answer before they even play the game. So there's, like I said, 7 different levels. So the first lesson is all about learning about what sustainable agriculture is. And then if you go back up to the second lesson, go up to the top there. Second lesson's on plant nutrients. So they'll learn about what that means in this lesson plan. And then once you go through each of these modules, they'll have a chance to play the game at the end of it after they've actually watched the videos and answered some questions. So we felt Journey 2050 was a great middle school, high school resource and something, a virtual experience for students. It's a fun game where they actually farm in 3 different countries and make decisions about what they're going to plant and how to cultivate it. And then also they have to answer questions about investments that they are asked to make back to their community or environmentally to protect the environment. So Journey 2050 is a big piece of the middle school e-learning, and then high school, we also use Journey 2050 for that grade band, as well as a genetics lesson on genetic selection and some some high school level lessons and activities. But bottom line, this is our e-learning page, and I'm going to ask Amanda to take us back to e-learning the home. And again, this was something that we decided we wanted to do to make it easy for teachers who found themselves at home, give them ready to use resources that they could use on whatever educational platform they are having to use right now. Something to also make it a little easier, and something about it too is, as you can see, these activities are pretty easy and hands-on. And if you'll go to the 3rd through 5th grade band there real quick, I'll show you something that the farming in a glove, the glove with the cotton balls and the seeds, easy activities that even parents can do with their kids at home if parents are indeed conducting the learning at home. Sometimes it's even siblings or grandparents, but we try to provide activities that were easy for those who are not in the classroom, teachers or, are finding themselves having to be educators at home, some activities they can do with their children to continue that educational process in the house. So this was just one activity I wanted to point out. So you can go back to the e-learning home site. Again, once more, one other thing I want to show you. Something, go to the home, there we go. Go to the, if you'll click on Ag Bites there, we also organized it in such a way that just click on that, and if you'll start following the hashtag AgBites, AGBYTES, you'll see this too on other social media. We're trying to link that all together with that hashtag phrase. But if you go here to AgBites on our website, everything that's posted to our social media page, and you can stop there, but it basically gives you kindergarten through 2nd grade, a quick video on potatoes and where do they grow, and then a kindergarten through 2nd grade lesson that goes with it, a 3rd through 5th grade lesson that goes with it, and if you'll scroll down a little bit more, middle and high school as well, something that's tied directly to that video and for that grade band. So we wanted to make it real easy to find these e-learning resources as well. So if you would like to go back to the homepage of our website, of the Ag Classroom website, there we go. Amanda did want me to talk about our curriculum matrix too. I really wanted to show you the e-learning site first because I know educators are scrambling. I know you're getting a lot of resources thrown at you, so we wanted to show you how we've organized some of ours to make it easier for you to use on those platforms that you're required to use. But those resources all come from the curriculum matrix. We call it the National Agricultural Literacy Curriculum Matrix here. Scroll down to where it says keyword. But as you can see, you can search our full lesson plans here, and anybody can use these lessons. They're free of charge. That's everything on our website's free. You don't need to set up an account. We try to make it as easy as possible, but you can do a quick keyword search for, let's say you want to do something on seeds. So if you'll go up to the top and just type in seeds and hit search, it'll take a minute to, you'll get all the lessons, if you'll scroll down, that are related to seeds for all the grade levels there. And if you click on one of these links, it'll take you to the lesson itself so you can see what it looks like. Here's Farmer George, The Seeds of a Presidency, a lesson that was developed for upper elementary, where American history is in the standards and students are having to learn it. But this is where the way our standard lessons are organized. And of course, the e-learning lessons and these curriculum matrix lessons are all tied to educational standards. at the national level, but also, you know, you can see direct ties. You should be able to see direct ties with your state standards as well. But this is just one example if you just do a search for seeds, say, or if you want to go back, Amanda, to the search bar again. And let's do a little bit more. So we could search for seeds, flowers, bees, or geography, but I'm going to do a search now. We're going to do a little more advanced search. So say I'm a middle school science teacher preparing to teach genetics. So I would type genetics there and then go down to quick search where you were and hit the grade level and hit middle school. So I'm that middle school science teacher wanting to search for genetics. So hit the search bar. Yep. Takes a minute to pull. There we go. And there's all the lessons on genetics that are middle school level. And you can click on any of the links. The titles are hot links. It'll take you right to the lesson. If you'll click on one of them, I want to show you something as well. Okay, close on the grow. So if you want to scroll to the bottom, of course, they're all organized this way. But at the bottom, you can see where your ag literacy standards are, where your educational content standards are, and then your Common Core connections too. So for those teachers that are here and wanting to know, you know, where the educational standard ties on the lessons are located, that's where you'll find them at the bottom of each lesson. So if you want to scroll back up and take us back to that search bar again. There we go. And say I'm a third grade teacher teaching germination of seeds. So you would type keyword seed or seeds, and then hit upper elementary, 3rd through 5th grade, and then hit the search bar again. And there are your upper elementary lessons about seed germination that you might need. But just like I said, it's really easy to search. It's pretty fast. You know, even if you are an informal educator, say you need to go into the classroom and teach eggs, you know, I'm thinking Easter, you know, you can find eggs, or if you just want books that are related to something, if you'll scroll down again for me, Amanda. Companion resources. What a companion resource is that is a video, a game, a children's book, as you can see, that might be related. Type in the word seed, and that will pull up all the books that are available that are about seeds, and it should link to a copy of what the book looks like. And it also is, these companion resources are tied to a piece of instruction too, but it shows you the book, what it looks like, and where you can buy it, you know, the URL where you could get the book as well. So that in a nutshell is who we are and what we do and the resources that we provide. I know I've only been given 15 minutes, so I don't want to take too much time. Amanda, if you'll scroll up to the top of the page again, just one last thing I want to point out. At the top, you'll see that grocery cart, resources to grow. We also have an e-store. So some of our lessons, not necessarily the e-learning, but some of our lessons in the matrix have some unusual items that teachers wouldn't be able to find anywhere else. And this is where you can get it. We try to offer, and they're classroom sets of these different activities. So just wanted you to know there's a place, and we don't try to make money off of it. The prices that you see are basically covering the cost of materials, and we try to make it really affordable for teachers and educators too. But this is just another resource that we felt we needed to start providing because, like I said, for some of our lessons, everything we do is agriculture related, and not all of it is not all of the items are easy to find for teachers. But we do also try in the lessons to give you other materials that you can use where you don't need to necessarily buy anything special to conduct the activity. We try to keep it affordable for teachers as well. But in a nutshell, National Agriculture in the Classroom's a nonprofit. We represent active programs in most of the 50 states, including the District of Columbia, thanks to the Grange. They are our members there, our Ag in the Classroom members there. Most recently, we have added Hawaii, Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. So, but we have active programs in all of those states, and the national website and the matrix and the e-learning resources I just shared with you are resources we offer all of our states, and many of our states have their websites tie right back to the matrix and our websites too. But we provide those types of resources to strengthen their programs back in their home states too. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Amanda. You got a question?
Sorry, I had to find a way to unmute myself. I just am gonna do the questions from the board and then turn this back to Mandy after we're done with those. So one of the questions from the board asked, are there grade level lessons aligned to the next generation science standards?
Yes, and that's been very important for us to tie into the NGSS, especially phenomena-based learning that has become very, and problem-based learning. So we've been in the process of developing more lessons that are tied to those standards. So in answer to your question, yes.
Okay. And then the other question we had from Jesse Peterson is, may I share these resources with my public library? Because we do know that in rural communities, a lot of times public library is kind of that extra teaching element. May not be now, they may be closed, but she'd like to be able to share the information about these there. Is that?
Oh, absolutely, that would be great.
And I know from National Ag in the Classroom, the meetings that we've had as the DC contact from Potomac Range, there's a lot of resources that some of these folks may have created and may be useful for other teachers. And so I know that you all are also taking suggested lessons and what have you and putting them up after they go through Deb Spielmaker and those folks out of Utah State University. Is that correct? So if somebody here has a lesson, they may want to submit it.
Yes, and we do accept submissions. In fact, you can, if you just go to the Curriculum Matrix website, there is a link where you can submit resources. You have to answer some questions and provide some information about it, but there is there is the ability to do that right from our website.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm going to turn this back over to Mandy.
All right, thank you. So speaking as an educator, I've actually used Ag in the Classroom, and I can say that they are very easy to follow lesson plans. I've done an economy one because we were working on economy and it tied into like what you use in your grocery stores. And then I used the store, which is also easy to navigate, to buy stuff for my 4-H ambassadors who were teaching day camps on pollination. And so just a quick little plug for you guys that it is actually super easy to use. So I definitely enjoy using them. So thank you, Lisa, for presenting.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right, so next we have Linda Fetzer, and she is the program director for Safety in Agriculture Youth Project that is housed with Penn State Extension. STAY offers several lessons, especially for ag educators, but also others with interest in the area. STAY also has curriculum standard information so you can see how it can fit with your objectives for the school year. And of course, with kids at home and that during the hours that they normally wouldn't be, and parents continuing to work on farms and other agricultural related industries, it's a good time to review safety in general. So welcome, Linda Fetzer.
Thank you, Mandy. Hopefully the internet holds out for me here. It's a pretty windy day. I'm actually an extension educator through Penn State Extension, and the SAY project is one of my projects. So I'm going to kind of give you an overview. First of all, I want to say thank you for everybody for their role in agriculture right now during this crazy time of uncertainty and social distancing. I also know that many people are taking on new roles as people who normally work off the farm for maybe benefits or off the farm income are now struggling with working from home with poor internet connections and trying to balance that work with now homeschooling children. This is a reminder as things ramp up this spring, as they always do, to take precautions with the children. Don't allow them to do tasks that are not appropriate for them based on their age. Kept out of working areas of the farm. Kids are so curious and they want to be where the action is, but it's not safe for them. They're hard to see from equipment, and the last thing you want is just something to happen on the farm and lose a family member. So like I said, I'm an extension educator and my focus is ag safety and health. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. I'm going to highlight 3 resources, and Amanda, if you want to put up the first slide, that would be great. Okay, the Safety in Agriculture and Youth, or SAY project. I work very closely with this project. Erin Yoder is actually director and I'm the communications person. This is the SAY project is a U.S. Department of Agriculture grant, and that's through the National Institute for Food and Agriculture. And the grant is held by University of Nebraska, Purdue, and Ohio State. Like I said, from Penn State, but I work with the University of Nebraska on their grant. One of the main products of the SAY project is the SAY National Clearinghouse, which is a one-stop of ag safety and health curriculum resource for especially 4-H and the FFA educators. You can see that there's a website is on the screen and a little description. There's 2 different types of things or resources in the clearinghouse. The first is curriculum, and that's going to have learning objectives, an outline for the lesson, and an evaluation. And then the other is called like an other supporting resource, or what Lisa was saying, like a companion resource. That might be a video series. It's going to have still the ag safety and health, but it's not going to have one of those 3 learning objectives outline or an evaluation. I'll have 2 of the 3. Because we do have this mainly for 4-H and FFA, they're aligned to Afnr Standards. There's probably 30 to 40 resources in there, resources and curriculums that you can access. But like I said, they are geared towards the Afnr Standards. That's how we align them. And then the second resource I'm going to highlight is the Progressive Ag Foundation. And, oh, popped up the SAY Clearinghouse for me, thank you. So there's a lot of different information on here. If you want to scroll down. Okay. Yes, those are the Afnr standards, and if you work in FFA, you know what Afnr standards are. If you don't work in FFA, you're not going to know what they're typically, but those are all of the different curriculums and how they align to the different Afnr standards. And you click on each one of those links and it's going to pull up a lesson. And then the other supporting resources are at the bottom. And similar to what Lisa said, if you have lesson plans that you'd be interested in sharing, we'd be happy to look at those and see if they do align with one of the Afnr standards. The second resource I'm going to highlight is the Progressive Ag Foundation. If you're from the rural area, your family might be familiar with farm safety days, or kids or grandkids have attended one in the past. The Progressive Ag Foundation is doing safety lesson drops every day on YouTube and on their Facebook page. These mini lessons are a great way for you and your kids to learn about safety. So I'd highly recommend those. They're a lot of fun. The last resource, if you go that's the Progressive Ag Foundation website. And on the slide that I have, Janet Davidson is the primary contact, and I have her email address there if you want to learn more about the Progressive Ag Foundation. And then the last resource is the National Children's Center for Rural and Agricultural Health and Safety. You can go ahead to the next slide, and their website is there. In the beginning, I talked about having your kids do age-appropriate tasks. The National Children's Center has a website to help you determine what are age-appropriate tasks that are safe for your child or your grandchild. I know we want to involve the kids on the farm as soon as possible, but for many reasons, I strongly recommend that you look at each child's age and their ability before allowing them to do certain tasks, especially when it comes to operating equipment. The information they also have at the Children's Center is they have information on safe play areas and educational resources for homeschooling. If you're looking for a specific resource, I'm happy to connect you with someone in your state or your region, or direct you to an online resource. The main people I'm going to direct you to are the NIOSH Regional Ag Centers and Cooperative Extension, and my contact information is on that last slide.
Linda, well, I'm letting them hopefully copy down your email, which is right here. I know that we had one question come in privately, and that was, can these also be used and shared with others? And I assume because
Yes.
extension, that's a yes.
Yes, big yes.
And I also wanted to say that I know at least one of your board members is watching. We share a leadership here. Betsy Huber, our national president, is on your board, right?
Yes, she's on our SAY Project National Steering Committee, and we appreciate her involvement.
So this is definitely an area of interest for Grangers as part of the charge for the president. We talk about, having the responsibility to make sure that children don't go to labor too quickly and have the time to develop their minds before toiling in the field. So I think this is a really appropriate tie-in for us. So thank you for that. I'm going to turn it over to Mandy.
Great. Thank you, Linda. That was very informative. I'm always glad to see different resources that we can use for agriculture. My mom actually happens to work for K-State Research and Extension, so I definitely have a tie, but it's always great to hear about the other states that are doing things. So thank you again. So now we're going to the portion where we have educators from around our great country. We're going to start with Sarah Seaton, who is an elementary educator, and she's going to talk a little bit about STEM lessons. For those of you who don't know what STEM stands for, I'll let Sarah explain it to you. I won't take all your thunder, about animals. So take it away, Sarah.
Okay. Again, thanks for having me. I am a teacher in the Oil City Area School District, which is in Venango County, Pennsylvania. It's probably our largest of the 4 districts in our county, but it's still a very rural area that we're in. When we got the directive that we were going to start doing online learning, our district took the option of doing enrichment and review for the rest of the year, mainly because our students, about 30% of our population in our district, lacks the technology to actually get on a computer and all that. So we decided, not we, but our administrators decided to use the platform Padlet. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that, but it's a really neat way of organizing all sorts of resources. And in that Padlet, each grade level has their own little section. I fall under our specials class, and I teach STEM, just like we mentioned earlier. STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and math. And this is the first year our district went to offering STEM as a special, in addition to our art and music and PE. So what I did, I put together, we're tasked with doing 1 lesson a week for our kids to put up there. And I decided, in light of all the information I've been reading about the dairy industry facing such a hard time during this pandemic, I thought it would be neat to do a review of farm animals, and I chose calves. And I don't know if you have my slide up, if you want to go ahead and show that. So this was just the little informative lesson that I put together. It was basically geared for our K-2 students. We have another STEM teacher. She was going to do the upper grade levels, 3rd and 4th. but it's really anybody could do it. And what I did, I don't know if any of you have watched any of the farmer Katie dairy videos. She did like a series of 6 videos of a day in the life in the dairy farm. And they were really neat. They're really short. They're about 10 minutes a piece. And each day she had a different topic. And I went to day 1 and found the topic about taking care of calves. We talked about farm animals and animals, mothers and babies and all that earlier in the school year. So I thought that would be a good review for these students. So I put the video into a Google slide, and then I found a resource called Quizzes, which is online and it's free. And you can go in there and make your own quiz, trivia game, whatever. And it's very interactive because you can choose the type of question you want. There's survey questions. I'm not sure if you could actually get to my quiz that I put together. I have the information there on the screen. It was just a fun way, I thought, to sort of tie the video into making it a learning activity. And again, the Quizzes is a really neat site that anybody can use. Not only can you design your own, but there's like a library or inventory of quizzes that you can use. Okay, yeah, we're going there. You can, yeah. And today we went live with our thing, and it looks like I had a couple players today, which I was surprised. And this was just like in the video, they talked about some of the different ways STEM was used on the farm. So you just go through there and there's survey questions, all sorts of things. It's neat. It will also read aloud to you. Just a really neat way to put together your assessments for a lesson. And that's about all I have.
This is a really awesome addition to the lesson. I think just sharing something like this Quizzes. And just, I forgot to mention this when we were signing on. We will have a list of all the resources that these educators have provided us going up in a link after this on this feed. And we'll also be putting it out in our patrons chain this week. So Quizzes as well as the lesson itself will all be part of that. So if you did not get to write that down, we will make sure to get it out to you. Mandy?
All right, so I'm just curious what you have found to be the hardest part of this at-home learning. Like for me, it's definitely connecting with my kids, but I was just wondering from another state, another teacher's perspective, what you found to be the hardest.
Yeah, definitely. And because I'm not a classroom teacher, I'm responsible for close to 500 students. Contacting them has been hard. So we've been relying on the classroom teachers sort of to do the contacting for them and sending them over our way as the specialists. But yeah, it's it's a whole new way of thinking and trying to deliver quality instruction while you're behind the computer and you're not face to face with the students. We had our first office hour today, and as a specials, the gym teacher, the art teacher, the music teacher, and I all do ours together. So we were able to get all the kids come in there, but we had I think 8 kids total that showed up today. Now it was the first day, so hopefully as they get used to logging in and doing all, and we're doing our office hours via Zoom as well. But hopefully this takes off and they get used to this new style of learning.
Yeah, and I had a question too of Sarah and Mandy. What are the expectations of the two of you, from your administrators right now?
I know from what they want us to do. Like I said, we're responsible for doing a lesson a week. It cannot be introducing any type of new content, something that we've already done, so we can review it. for me, is because I'm not a classroom teacher. I see how like our first, second, third, fourth grade teachers are struggling to put things together because there's still so much that they wanted to do over the course of the year. And now they're stuck and they're, trying to review some of these things. And it's just hard to try to find the right type of lessons to, make sure that you are getting them and then getting them to the kids. We're also in the process of keeping track of, as we contact parents, kids that don't have the technology, so we can send out all this stuff in paper form so that they can access it that way. And we do that with their lunches. When they pick up lunches, if they need a packet, that's when they get their packet, when they're getting their lunches.
So like I said at the beginning, we went to a completely online platform. We're all using Google Classroom, so our kids have access to that. And the state put out that fourth and fifth grade, we are only allowed 90 minutes a day of learning, which includes the lessons that we present and work that the kids do. So right now we're focusing on math and reading, where later on, probably next week or the week after, we're going to implement some science and social studies into our lessons. But I have to screen record myself every day, putting the lessons together. That's actually what that is in the background. That's my whiteboard. And so I have to do that for my math and for my reading, and have all the resources for the kids available within that Google Classroom. And then I'm on every day pretty much from 8:30 to about 5:30, because that's when I'm done staring at a screen, answering questions for my kids on Google Classroom. And then we do have office hours Monday through Thursdays for kids to get on and talk to us. And I'm the only fourth grade teacher, so it's only me and my classroom aide that's on helping talk to kids during that time.
Wow.
So
thank you. Good luck.
Thank you. So thank you, Sarah, for presenting. Next, we have Cody Titus. She is a high school teacher from Washington State, and she will be presenting how she's been doing lessons with finance. So welcome, Cody.
Cody Titus. I'm a business education teacher at La Crosse School District. Our district is very small. We have 100 kids, preschool through 12th grade, and 20 of those are in the high school. So we have 5 kids per grade level in the high school. I do a lot of academic counseling and other things like homeless and foster care liaison, those types of things. So most of my classes are singletons, meaning that I just have one person in a class because of their core schedule. So most of my lessons are online for them, because if I have to leave, they have to be able to still work. So I use 2 programs mainly for financial literacy. The first one is Bonsai, and that is financed by a local credit union here. Show you the brochures that they send us. But this is all completely online, and they were one of the first ones to come out with the COVID-19 to saying that now it's free for everyone. So they have 3 platforms. One is for what they call elementary school, Bonsai Junior. That's ages 8 to 12. And our school actually piloted that one for them. And then Bonsai Teen, ages 13 to 18 for middle and high school. And then Bonsai Plus for those who finish the Bonsai Teen, ages 16 plus. I don't know how they're doing it with parents, but as a teacher, I just put in my information, and they had me set up classrooms, and I would think it would be the same thing for students. Parents would sign in, and then they would set up a classroom for their students. So all of it's online. It's easy to read. The first one, after they do the first one, which the whole thing probably takes 1 week if there's 30 mini lessons. But I don't know, my kids love it, and at the end there's a game, and they like trying to win the game. They did send standards for Washington State with the information for teachers. They have extra things that you don't have to have, but they will send you like a workbook and an activity kit, and I just give those to students after they finish if they need some remedial work. There's a pre-test and a post-test, and I really like Bonsai, and I've probably been using it for 10 years. And as I said, our credit union supports that when it's not COVID-19. The other one that I use is the National, let me read what it is, because I'll probably mess it up. National Endowment for Financial Education. Those are 6 workbooks, and they go through money management, control your cash flow, borrowing, use, don't abuse. Module 3 is earning power more than a paycheck. Module 4 is investing. Module 5 is financial services, care for your cash, and Module 6 is insurance. Protect what you have. If you go to the website up there, the www.hsfpp.org, they have these workbooks downloadable. So you could, I just download them into a binder, and then they can work on them through there. Or if you have time, the workbooks are nice, and they'll send those to you free also. I would just say that I also do career and college counseling. So if you like me on Facebook, which not like me, but like my page, Lacrosse Career and College Corner, I've been posting not only scholarships, but lately I've just been posting anything that I see free that I think would be good for my students. Any questions?
So it's not necessarily a question, but it looks like you're still in your classroom. So you have the ability to go into your classroom and work from there?
Yes, our school district decided not to lock the doors to teachers. The students are still locked out, but we can come and go as we need to. And I live 30 miles away, so I just decided it would be easier to do it in the classroom because that's where all my information is.
Makes sense. We locked ours down, so I haven't been into my classroom in about 3 weeks. So definitely nice that you get to get back into your classroom.
Yes, and we come in every Monday. We have a staff meeting, and we can do that Zoom or not. And then Tuesday we have packets go out to the kids. So if we want them to have stuff, we have to come in and deposit it by Tuesday morning.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
So that was Cody from Washington State. Next, we're going to have Amy Farmer, who is actually I'm going to jump because you just got on, so I lied. We're going to go Jane Troube, I'm so sorry, who's an early elementary teacher from New Hampshire, and she is going to talk to us about a craft group that she did with virtual learning.
Thank you, Mandy. I work in special education, and I work in, I do have K-5 kids, but most of them are on the autism spectrum and have limited language. Some of them have limited abilities in other ways. So, one thing that we did when we were at school was we would have a craft group. And the kids always enjoyed that. We'd usually read a story and then do the step-by-step instructions with craft. So what I've been doing is videotaping myself or somebody else reading the story, and then going through the steps. We did the Very Hungry Caterpillar, and so then, and we had sent a few things home with the kids when this all started to begin with. And so they had the materials handy that they needed to make the caterpillar. So I did the step by step. Our kids need to, a lot of times, slow down when they're making something. So, just getting them to count. So it's not just making a craft. They're doing other things at the same time. They're doing a lot of counting. They're weighting. They're learning maybe top, bottom, front, back, different prepositions that way. So then they can have something hands-on that they're doing. We are not allowed to send home more materials to our children. So whatever we sent home that first time is all that they get, and everything else has to be online. So I had to do a little survey of my students to see what types of materials they have at home for crafting, so to speak, and so that I can continue, because a lot of them really do enjoy that. And I know I had a video chat with one of my kids last week, and they were going to go, she had to go groceries, she was going to pick up construction paper and things like that, so that her son could continue to do crafts that that I'm doing. So it's got to be in school. We did some that were a little bit more involved, not just construction paper and things, but so now it's got to be a little bit simplified. But like I said, these kids need constant step-by-step directions, and they need structure. And so it's really hard for a lot of these kids that I work with to have that structure at home. They're not used to having mom and dad be the teacher. And so even getting them to watch the video that we've done, to participate in the craft, is really hard. Most of the contact that I have with the kids is just a check-in, just a chat, maybe asking some questions, doing Play-Doh together, reading a story, because they have work that they need to do, and we do post a lot of that. But when we have our one-to-ones, or there might be 2 or 3 of us on there at the same time with a student, we try to just make it a little more fun and just very simplified. But a few of the sites, we aren't allowed to post anything through YouTube. That site has been banned by I think by our whole state. So a lot of the things that my kids do, we do calendar time. And so I would do songs with them from the websites, YouTube. And because that's blocked, I was like, oh no, what are we going to do? These kids love these songs. And so one of my co-workers told us about Edpuzzle. And so I don't know if any of you have ever used that, but it's a website where you can go in and put in the YouTube link, and then it'll bring it up. And so when the students click on the link to that song through Edpuzzle, all they're getting is that one song. Because when you have YouTube, there's always the things rotate through and something will pop right up afterwards. There's a lot of Edpuzzle. Here's Edpuzzle. And so then you can not get all those extra videos and things that pop up on the side, so that the kids can't keep scrolling. It's just that one song or video. So I've actually been doing that also, as if I don't have a story that I want, I find a story that's read online, and then I can go ahead and put that story, put the craft activity, and maybe a song to go with that as well, using Edpuzzle. So that's helped me tremendously, because like I said, YouTube, when I got the email saying YouTube was blocked or we weren't allowed to use it, I was devastated that I couldn't share my calendar time songs and things with my students. So Edpuzzle was a huge saver for me. Lessonpix is another program that we've used, and it is a purchased site. in our school district, I think only 20 of us have access to Lessonpix, but they, with all of this going on, they have changed some of their, because everything was that you would have to print it out. And so they have done it now so that they have it downloadable to be able to do it in different PDF formats, where you could make a bingo game, and they have little, you know, the not daubers, but you know, the icons to put on your bingo page. So they made it so interactive. So those are a couple sites that have really saved me working with my students that that have more difficulty and can't access the regular classroom education. So
I know we have a few parents on here. Do you have any other tips for them that are working with their special needs kids as now as their educator? Like anything you can give them?
Yeah, I mean, I think you know, anything. My kids especially, they love to see you know, the interaction. So the most comments that I get from the parents is that, oh, they loved, you know, the song. You know, every morning I would sing to them in calendar, and I don't sing. And so I recorded that song. So every morning they can listen to me singing to them and saying good morning to them. But it's those types of things to make that that interaction where they can see us. And so I think that's the biggest part, is letting them see that we're still here. So that's been, you know, my biggest part, is to make sure that I'm doing things video, and I'm not a fan of being videotaped. So it's a whole new, you know, all of us are in that same boat where we're, you know, it's not our thing, but we're doing it because it's what's best for our students. So
thank you. We are now going to go to Amy Farmer, who is an elementary education, early elementary education person, and she's going to talk to us about visual schedules that she has done for her students. So welcome, Amy.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm a special education teacher, grades K through 3 at Cordley Elementary in Lawrence, Kansas. We have found in our, it's not just in special ed, but in the general education, over the past few years, the behavior of children has become a little more challenging over the years. And it's just, you know, the nature of society as we're going along. So I started thinking about how I work with my students. I have a lot of social emotionally challenged students. And I always use a schedule with some of them, and I use rewards, breaks, and everything is really structured and routine. So I started thinking about, wow, you know, what are the parents going to do at home to, you know, get their kids to do the work. Thankfully, our district is more concerned about everyone's social emotional health right now, that it's not, I mean, we're doing work with students. But thankfully it hasn't been, here's all this stuff you got to do. We're really slowly rolling it out. Anyway, I decided to create a visual schedule for parents to use if they want to get the students, their kids motivated and get their work done. So I am going to share the visual schedule, and I don't know if there's a way to, hold on one second. I can't talk and do it at the same time. There we go. I don't know if there's a way to share this with everybody. I'm a sharer, so why reinvent the wheel? And it's visual. This is very similar to what I use with some of my students because they just don't want to do the work. It's boring, it's stupid, you know, the whole thing that, you know, we go through. I'm sure it's not different anywhere else. So it's basically, you know, it's reading. You can do whatever you want. You can plug anything you want in here. It's just a you know, it's a table. Movement break. And I always throw in a snack, writing prompts, and I'm going to show you some things down here at the bottom in just a minute. another movement break. I like to do, work break, especially when they're at home and they're not used to this routine of the parents teaching, like you said earlier. So after all of these things are completed, doesn't matter how long they take. It could take 2 days to get some people to do things. They get free choice, and the free choice is something that's really, really desired. I have one student who is in 2nd grade, has Down syndrome, more cognitively 2-3 years old, and was in love with Go Noodle. I don't know if you all are familiar with that. So that was his jam. That's what he wants to do. He says it all the time, and so, and I'm, this is what I do. This is my job. It's, I'm not a firefighter. I'm a teacher. If I was, I would have to learn from a firefighter if my kid came home and, that kind of thing. So I wanted parents to know, some ins and outs. I'm rambling, sorry. Not used to talking to people I don't know. And then I just put some, I'm not going to read it all to you, but just some tidbits of information on how to get through it. Sometimes they're not going to be motivated, so you want to remind them what they're working for. You don't have to complete the schedule all in one setting. If sometimes, your child's going to get too frustrated to do a thing. They're now rolling on the floor and nothing's happening. It's okay. I mean, they do that in school sometimes, and it's okay. You just got to wait that out. And you can give them that, 5 to 10 minute break just to gather themselves. This is not their special break. This is not the big thing that they're earning, which I put down here in this paragraph. It's not their free choice. This break is when they're frustrated, if they just need a small break. And I gave some examples down at the bottom here of some calming down breaks. Talked about visual timers. Make sure the student can see the timer so they know how much time they have left. There's some fun timers online, on your phone you can get, so you can see it actually counting down. I also threw some things in here about to the parent, if you're getting frustrated, give yourself a break. It's allowed. It's okay. We're talking 2 months out of the entire span of their education. So it's not gonna, ruin them or anything if they don't get through, reading a book one day. It's gonna be okay. Because I think a lot of parents might be putting a lot of pressure on themselves right now. I put in here that it's important for the child to learn their free choice quickly in the beginning, so they can have some success and see that, oh man, I was able, let's say it's a movie that they want to watch. Who cares? Is it an hour movie, 2-hour movies? That's fine. I mean, we are all stuck at home. It's 2 hours out of your day. So it's okay if that's the big break. Once they can see that and have that taste of success, then you can start making things go, make things a little harder to do, make it last a little bit longer, so they don't get it right away. And you don't have to do that. It's just a recommendation. Oh, I should have taken this one out here. This right here is from our district, sorry. We are using Seesaw. I don't know if anyone's familiar with that. Our district uses that, where you can record things and talk to your kids, and they can hand in assignments, they can show their work. And that we're offering students choice boards of things that they can pick to do, so they have some, have choice, have some independence. To be pick 1 out of the 3 math things, pick 2 out of the 5 reading things to do this week or something like that. Down here, just movement exercise examples. And then down here are calm down activities and strategies. And these are all things that I've used throughout my years. There's plenty more. I'm sure you all have great ideas of calming down and movement exercises, and there's so much out there. that they can do. And that's it. It's not elaborate. It's just something I felt like the parents might be able to use just to help themselves out and not get so stressed out.
All right,
That's
thank
it.
you. We had one person say, one of our viewers, say that a lot of her students would benefit from that schedule. And just to remind everybody, we will be compiling these resources to put together to help people who may not have got on or people who did to get that. And a lot of teachers could do this in their class when it goes back to normal too. I don't necessarily use the visual one in my classroom because I have fourth graders, but I do always have my schedule posted. But I do like the visual because I can see the benefit helping the other students.
Yeah, I have some nonverbal students that, once they see that, they point right to it.
Yeah, that's a great option.
How do I get this to what? Am I still on mute? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you and you're still on live. So I'm going to ask this question to all of our educators on here. So just what does this virtual learning and virtual teaching mean to you guys? And like, how are you taking it just on your own? I know we've heard from you, but like, what else are you doing it just to make it feel like it's still your classroom? Like, as you can see, like I've pretty much set up a classroom here with my whiteboard in the back. What are you guys doing? I know some of you aren't in general education. Just what are you guys doing? Don't all jump at once.
I guess I can talk a little bit about that. I've been in the process. Now I'm in the room that I'm using as my classroom, and you can see behind me, it's bare walls because it's just been a storage room for the last umpteen years. So I've been trying to clean that out and to get this set up. But I guess, the longer we go on, now Pennsylvania is closed the rest of the school year, so we know we're not going back. It'll be easier to start trying to make this look a little more like school and bringing in some of the things that my car's packed to the hilt. I went to school on the 1st and I haven't brought all my stuff in yet because I haven't had any place to put it. But, once I start getting all that, I can, make this look a little more like school for the kids.
Anybody else?
I know we're getting requests from like the tractor safety driving instructors of, is there an online option? So it's making us think about, okay, are there some things that we need to start moving online to help meet these needs for times like this, or even if somebody just needs that different option. So it's just making us rethink some of the things that we have, and if we need to have more than one delivery system.
Yeah, I can see that, Linda, happening. I mean, I think this is an eye-opening experience. I don't think it's the last time something like this is going to happen. I like that you mentioned this might be a great way to reach students at their level or their comfort level. There's a lot of kids getting homeschooled already in our country, but this might be a great way to reach certain students that otherwise wouldn't get the information. But I think we need to be prepared. My sister teaches in New Jersey, and they were kind of prepared for at least maybe a month or so, I think the teachers were, because of some snowstorms they had a few years ago. They were all just packed in and they kept closing schools. And finally they were like, oh my goodness, we got to get technology at home and have things ready to go. And then that was a few years ago from blizzards and stuff. And now they were ready to go. They didn't have to think twice about it. Can I ask where everybody's from? I've written down Washington State, New Hampshire, Pennsylvania. I'm from Kansas.
I'm also from Kansas.
Florida.
Florida. Okay.
All right. Amanda, do you have any final words to say, or does anybody else have final words to say?
I would like to do a better job of answering that NGSS question. So I don't know who asked it, but I will get that information to Amanda to get out to everybody if you're interested in it. We do definitely tie into NGSS in our lessons. I want to put together and show you how you can find that. So
That's
there's not
awesome.
enough time tonight. So
That's awesome. And I think one of the things that we've talked a little bit about doing, at least Washington, D.C. Ag in the Classroom, is going through some of these lessons on a more regular basis with on an online forum like this. And now that we're all testing these things, we know how to do it. So we might be able to have a little more of that information, a little more in depth soon. We had one other question. I posted a question I'm going to ask after I review work. I gave them to do over the week, office hours. Need them to have an intro and closure, but we can't teach. That has to be in Google Classroom. So it just seems like everybody's kind of struggling to get a handle on what their school is using, what they're allowed to do based on state standards and different things like that. And so I think that you guys have, some people won't be able to use certain things because of the specific expectations of their state, like don't teach anything new. But the things that you've provided, I think, are really useful for everybody to have, because they may not use it now, but they may use it next year when things are back to normal. But everybody's integrated a little bit more technology in their classrooms. So thank you for sharing your stuff with us tonight. Thank you, Mandy, for hosting this as National Grange Youth. I know a lot of our youth members are teachers or are still in school, so this was important for them. And we will have all these resources. So if any of you guys, educators, want to share any additional resources, I'll be putting them all together into a PDF binder and providing a link tomorrow, both on the YouTube version of this that we're putting up and on this that people can find when we're not live. So, and if anyone has questions specific for any of these educators, you can send them to us, youth@National Grange or communications@National Grange, and we can get them off to the educators and ask them for some feedback and get it back to you. So. Mandy, do you want to close us out? And I'll just remind everybody, tomorrow we're going to have Bert Neller on at 3:30 to talk about what's going on in the legislative world about agriculture and rural and the COVID-4 stimulus package that's being discussed. We have moved our Walter Boomsma discussion to Friday. So just keep an eye on our schedule for other live streams.
I just want to say thank you again to all of our educators and our presenters that got on tonight. These definitely have been helpful resources for everybody. I've seen several comments of people that have been excited to see that there are different resources to use. So again, thank you so much. Like Amanda said, if you need to contact us, youth@nationalgrange.org or communications@nationalgrange.org. And that's all I've got. So
Thanks,
thank you,
everybody. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much. Have a great night.
You as well. Stay safe.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.